during our weekly hybrid MLS breakfast meeting. My name is Jacqueline Cheou, and I'm your July program chair. Please remember to silence your phones.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you are having a pleasant Thursday so far. My name is Sue Chong with Akasa Management, and I'll be your moderator for today's panel. Today's topic will be open escrow, closed escrow. Is it that easy? Well, let's find out from these lovely ladies. To my right, we have Jacqueline, Alina, and Alba. Why don't you ladies go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Good morning, everyone. I asked my husband last night, how should I introduce myself today? And he said, Magnificent Jacqueline. And you kick butts on the golf course. I'm like, no. Alina, I didn't win anything. Alina won second place. So, but I prefer to be the ordinary Jacqueline Cheou from Champion Escrow. I been doing escrow for 31 years, and I do escrows for commercial properties, residential properties, and business transfers. And I'm gonna pass this over to Alina.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Alina Cheou. I work for Glen Escrow, and I've been doing escrow for over 35 years. I won't say how much more, but it's definitely been there for a very, very long time. Don't let she fool you because she's a great golfer. Jacqueline here is an excellent golfer. I'm going to pass this to Alba.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Alba Moy from Moy Escrow. Is it on?
Yes.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having us here. My name is Alba from Moy Escrow. I have been doing escrows for 45 years, and I started when I was 5. So you can do the math. I love doing escrows. Escrow is actually my passion. I don't have any children. My husband and I don't have any children, but we have our escrows as our children. So that's how I'm a motherly kind of person, but to the escrows. Thank you so much. Hope you like our presentation.
Thank you, ladies. So let's get started. The first question will be for Jacqueline. How do I ensure my commission gets paid through escrow?
Well, first up, it appears the word commission is out and compensation is in. So while you are making changes in your world, we, your escrow partner, are also making changes wherever we can to help you make this transition smoother. Okay. Now, how many of you, when you open escrow, you just send the purchase contract? And if you also send a summary of your transaction? Anyone? Okay, great. That's good practice. Now, if you haven't done that, then now more than ever, you should start doing it, okay? When you open escrow, please let us know everything. Give us a summary of your transaction, including acceptance dates, the services that you will be using, like NHD, home warranty. Let us know who are the parties. We need their contact information. And very importantly, your compensation, especially now, right? Now, if you would like to have a format, I can share that with you. Just give me your email after, and I'll be happy to send you that a format, a sample that you can use, okay? Now, you know that we don't have a crystal ball, right? We don't know what your compensation would be unless you tell us. So at the opening of escrow, please do send us all the forms showing your compensation and also provide that email confirmation about the compensation and how much and who is paying you in the email, please. Okay. If you represent the seller, it's pretty much business as usual. Just send us the listing agreement and confirm your compensation in the email. If your seller is paying any compensation to buyer's broker, please specify that and send us the seller payment to buyer's broker, which is the SPBB. If it was negotiated in the purchase agreement that seller pays buyer's broker compensation, which should specify on item 3G3 on page 2 of 17 of the new RPA. Okay, and so that box should be checked off, and then the SPBB should be attached. If you represent buyer, your compensation may come from more than one source now, right? You may be compensated by buyer, by seller, and who knows, maybe even by the seller's broker, or all of the above. So what forms should you email to us? Well, it depends. If you are getting the compensation by marrying the buyer, hey, I've been sitting in the classes that you guys have been sitting into. Then you have the buyer representation and broker's compensation agreement, the BRBC. So if you are getting the compensation by dating the buyer, then you have the property showing and representation agreement. Now, if there has been a modification, then there is the modification of terms, the buyer representation agreement MT-BT. So please be sure to send them all to us, whichever is applicable. Okay, so very important, if you represent the buyer, be sure to send us the SPBB yourself too. Don't rely on the other agent to send it for you to us, okay? Now, with the changes going on, I recommend you be proactive at communicating your compensation clearly to escrow and double check when the instructions are out for signatures. We know you work hard for your compensation, and we want to make sure we collect the correct amount for you.
Thank you, Jacqueline. The next question is for Alba. Excuse me, are real estate property held in the name of the trust or LLC protected from fraud?
Nowadays, nothing is protected from fraud. Everything is, the criminal mind is so creative that they'll do anything to try to make some money. And there was this couple in Rancho Palos Verdes. They owned the property in a living trust, and they thought they were all set and everything is fine. Well, the tenant went ahead and created a trust and made himself as a successor trustee of the trust. The tenant took out a loan, and the owners did not know this happened until the lender started foreclosure on the property. And that's how they found out that this is what's happening with the tenant. And when you have properties owned under LLC, in a limited liability company, the LLC has, you need to get the operating agreement. So the person who wants to commit fraud, they will do is create an LLC, the operating agreement, and they will name themselves as the managing member. So basically, this is what is going on, and elderly people are getting, their properties are free and clear. They are having people living in their street, monitoring their property, and they will have the person do a loan. Usually it's hard money loan. They're easier to get a loan. And what it is that they will have a notary notarize the documents, and the person who committed fraud is one of the people in the block. They were monitoring the lady's property, and so they were able to create this fraud. The property was owned by two friends, they're elderly couple. The male friend moved out of state, and the lady stayed in the property. And they were holding title as joint tenants. And this person was able to create a death certificate that was so real, stating that the person passed away in San Francisco. So we get the copy of the death certificate, and it looks so real. So everything is normal. So the extra transaction closed, and of course, the lady never signed the documents because it was fraudulent. The notary notarized it. Well, to make a long story short, it was the person who was alive, who wasn't dead, called the escrow company and said who he was. And then the escrow officer said, well, I thought you were deceased because we have your death certificate. And he was there. So just beware.
Wow. Alina, when should my buyer provide insurance information to escrow?
Okay, fire insurance information should be provided as soon as possible, even as early as opening of escrow. And the reason being is the purchase contract now has a contingency period also for buyers to review that policy. And if they're not satisfied with that policy, they can still cancel that. And it's within the contingency period section is defaulted at 17 days. So that most likely sometimes goes into halfway of your escrow period. So buyers can still look at the policy, look at the premium and say, oh, I don't want to, I don't think we can factor that into our equation and can still cancel on you. So one of the challenges that we've been experiencing is, as you know, the major companies pulled out from insuring not long ago in California. I know they're working to perhaps bring that back soon, but at the moment, because of that, it is also taking longer to obtain just an insurance quote. So make sure you work on that, because if your property happens to be in a very high fire severity zones, the premium will be extremely high. It could go 3 to 4 times higher than what you have expected. Even the mountain area, hillside, those homes are also affected. I just had a recent case that I just closed a couple of months ago. It was in Los Angeles in the high severity zone. Purchase price maybe just $2.5 million. And the buyer said, okay, I can go to California Fair Plan. So they submitted the application to the California Fair Plan, but because they are so backlogged, he waited for over a month and still could not get a quote. And you cannot push them, you cannot do anything, you have to wait until they process that. And he never, ever got that through. He ended up having to, of course, go to another company, which by the time we closed escrow, it was close to $12,000 just for the fire insurance policy. And then he asked for an extension. So the seller gave him an extension. And by the time we actually closed escrow, the premium went up again, just within a month. And we also experienced in our Glendale office that even though they got a quotation for the insurance, that when it was time to close escrow, they canceled them. So they were scrambling to close escrow at that time too, because there was no policy. Even though a quotation was there and they gave us an evidence of insurance, they still was able to deny that and cancel that. So in order for you to have a smooth transaction and avoid any last minute changes, it will be best to see and have your buyers to work on that.
Are these mostly hillside properties?
In the high severity zone properties, yes, it's a lot more difficult. But even on a regular home, they also take over a week to get a quotation now. So you do have to work on that earlier. Thank you.
Speaking of fire zone, Jacqueline, the property is in a high or very high fire hazard severity zone. How does it affect the closing of escrow?
Well, currently, our escrow process does not change because the property is in a high or very high fire zone. However, if the property is in the city of Los Angeles and it's residential or residential on commercial lots or vacant land, the Los Angeles Fire Department wants escrow to get a demand from their department for any fees that are due for brush clearance prior to the close of escrow. Okay, why? Because if seller has an assessment, lien, or any pending violation, they will become the responsibility of the new owner if they are not clear prior to the close of escrow. Now, the fees or the lien follow the property and not the owner on record at the time the violations occurred. The LAFD brush clearance unit will take up to 15 business days to issue the demand or the release. That is basically 3 whole weeks. And there is no expedited service. Okay, and unfortunately, they also require that we submit the 9A report from the city of LA, the Department of Building and Safety, together with our request. Okay, and you know, the 9A itself actually can take up to about 12 business days to obtain. So you have 2 steps there, okay? So what does this mean to you? As you can see, 2 to 3 weeks to get the 9A report, and then 3 weeks for the brush clearance. So potentially, your escrow cannot close for 6 weeks. Now, for those who are not familiar with the 9A report, Section 96.300 of the Los Angeles Municipal Code mandates any pending violations, liens, or open fees be disclosed to the new buyer prior to the close of escrow. It is a report that seller needs to get from the City of Los Angeles Department of Building and Safety. Trust me, the application itself is not easy to complete. It may require a retrofitter to help your seller to figure out if the property is in compliance with the city requirements on water conservation, security, lighting and locks, seismic gas shutoff valves, impact glazing approved films for the sliding doors or glass. And that's just to name some of the items on the application itself. Okay, so please be prepared if it's in a high or very high fire zone in the city of Los Angeles, you may not close escrow very quickly.
Alba, can we use the descendant's social security number as tax ID number in the escrow transaction?
When the person passes away, we cannot use their social security number as a tax ID number. They need to get an EIN number, which is the employee identification number, and they can get that number from the Department of Treasury. It's online, it's not that hard to get, but it's just a lot of steps and a lot of questions to answer. So, because when you open the account under the estate or the trust, you need an EIN number to open the bank account. Thank you.
Okay, Alina, can the commission check be payable to another entity?
We have come across many requests from realtors to issue checks payable to their LLC or corporation. The answer is yes, it is doable. However, if you request for commissions to be payable to an entity, that company, first of all, must be in good standing. That entity must also share the same license number as you do, meaning that when you list on your DRE license, you need to list it as doing business as on your business license, because we do check all licenses when you open escrow. We do double check to be sure licenses are not expired or the address matches. So even small things as moving companies, sometimes you do need to update your DRE postings. So when we verify that it be correct for us to issue the checks. And lastly, your broker must also provide instructions. So you either list it on your CDA or provide it on the letterhead with instructions to issue the commission check to your entity. And any commissions, disbursements that you want us to make you request for us to disperse to a third party, you need to be sure that that company is licensed. Like your referral fee, sometimes you have a cooperating referral company. So any or a realtor that help you and you want commission to be paid to that person, you have to be sure that person has a license before we can disperse anything from the commission check. And that includes your TC. Even your TC should be licensed. Thank you.
Okay, Jacqueline, what happens if my buyer's down payment is not coming from their own account? Can we still close escrow?
Okay, this is one question I get asked a lot, but that's a good sign because that means more agents are being proactive. And when they know the funds are not coming from the buyer's own account, they want to make sure that we're able to close escrow. Well, the answer to the question is it depends. First, it is important to know that if the funds are not coming from the buyer's own account, then it is considered third-party funds. Since they are not a party to our transaction, we cannot use their funds and credit that to the buyer until we have signed instructions from them. If it's an all-cash transaction, they need to ask the escrow company if the escrow company will take the third-party funds. Most escrow companies will take them, but there are some who won't. You have to ask the escrow company specifically, okay? If the escrow company accepts the third-party funds, they will require that the sender of those funds sign a third-party deposit instructions. The third party needs to sign it, authorizing the funds to be credited to the buyer's account, and buyer also needs to sign acknowledging the credit to them. So, is Derek trying to tell me something?
You can use my time, Jacqueline.
Oh, okay. So if the sender of a company is a company, then escrow may be asking the company documents showing the person signing the instructions actually has the authority to sign on behalf of the company. Okay, if the buyer is getting a loan, they must check with the lender to see if they can use other people's funds as their down payment, and that is usually known as gift funds. The loan program must allow for it. If otherwise, we will not be able to close. And even if we accept the funds, the lender won't fund the loan. Now, you would think sending the funds to escrow is a simple task, right? But you will be surprised to hear all the issues that can come up. The closing can be delayed if the sender of the funds is not available to sign the instructions, or if they need time to get the company documents to the escrow. Okay, and when there is a loan, the lender is strict about the funds where it can come from. We have had situations where even after lender approved the gift funds from the uncle, but when it comes to wiring the funds, he wired it from his company account. So that created a mess, and it took like a week to get everything fixed and close escrow. Okay, so please be reminded that if buyer is sending initial deposits to escrow from a third party's account, that may not be considered a deposit until the third party signs the instructions. Okay, so the deposit would not be good until the third party signs off. Thank you.
Alba, do we need court approval if the executor or administrator of the estate has limited authority?
Yes, we do. If the letters of testamentary or letters of administration shows a limited authority, you must get court approval for the closing,
You can use
for the sale.
the
But if the
one
letters of administration or testamentary states
49.
that the executor or the administrator has full authority, then you don't need to have court approval. But you must remember that there will be a notice of proposed action that needs to be filed before you close escrow. And usually they use the beneficiary or the heirs of the estate 15 days to object to the sale of the transaction. And in some cases, the beneficiaries can sign a waiver to avoid the 15 days waiting period. But most of the time, they have 15 days to object to the sale. Thank you.
Thank you. Last question is for Alina.
Sorry.
Oh, that was the last question? Oh, okay.
Thank you to our panelists.
All right, thank you, ladies. So what do you guys think? Was that easy? Thank you for valuable information.
Thank you. On behalf of the West Indian Valley Realtors, I'd like to thank our guest speakers for a very informative presentation. It's time for Bits and Bites, brought to you by Real Tech Committee.
She's gonna use
Let's welcome
the
Alina,
projector. Is it
St.
okay?
Carrie,
Turn it on.
US Bank, and Brandon Srensky of First United HT.
Show you guys how I do this. So, everyone is now on social media, right? Or anyone that who just starting, social media is now a big thing, and you want to be very quick when you post in something, one page to get the attention, right? Instead of having the whole long 9 yard of all the letters. So this is what I do every time when I do the funding, after I fund the loan. So I just post with my face on it, you can see with the QR code and the link that you can interact with. Anyone know how to do this? No? Okay, so I'm gonna show you. It's very easy and quick. So this one I use Instagram. So instead of using the extra app that you don't need to download. So if anyone has Instagram, you can, if you wanna follow me, step by step. So you can go to Instagram app, open it up, and you see the plus sign at the bottom. So you go plus, click on the story. You pull up and you get the photo of, the background, right? So I have the loan that I just funded. So that's a property picture. So I have that. So click on the smiley face and then you see, so now I'm going to put my face on. Okay. So you can have, if you have the photo, the professional picture, and you can just want your face on it. So you click on the cutouts, go to the face, the photo. See, so it automatically do the cutout for you. Click use a sticker, and then you can do make it bigger, make it smaller, however you want. You can place wherever you want to. Wow. Anyway, if you want to have your website on, you can also do that. Go to the smiley face. You see the link, click on the link. If you know it by hand, know it by heart, so you can just click it, type it. If not, which I don't. So I go to my website, copy the link, and then go back to the Instagram, and then I paste. So you can paste, done. There you go. So you have the link on it. So you can do the same thing. You can scroll, make it smaller, make it bigger, however you want. If you want your QR, if you have QR, if you want the audience to be able to click in it and go directly to your website or go see the details of your property. So do the same thing. Go to the smiley face, go to the picture, photo. So go to QR code. So do the same thing. So you can go, I'm just gonna randomly put it on there. If you wanna do some letters, right? Do the same thing, everything go onto the smiley face. So if you want, mine is funded, right? If you guys have the soul, so you can do soul. So you click soul, and then it will show so many designs how you want it. So you can do so you can make it bigger. And there you go. So I have it this much. And if you want to save it, go to the 3 dots on the right-hand side, click save. And then it will save in your camera roll. And so when you go back to the camera roll, you'll be able to see whatever you have saved up, and you can use this same one, post on your social media. And it's also interactive. You can, if you want to click on the link, whatever, it will open up and then you can open the link. So your audience will be able to do the same thing. So you can apply to anything. So I did apply to like fun things, right? So that day I came to the board and I wear the Thai traditional. And you see, I was not in Thailand by the temple, but I did that and not a lot of people catch it, right? So that's something fun to do. I hope you find this informative and beneficial to you. If you like me to show you how to create the QR code for you guys, let me know. I'll be here. I'm always here on Thursdays. Thank you.
Excellent. So thank you so much. Please join us next week to welcome Attorney Kelly Richardson. Thank you everyone for joining today's meeting. Have a wonderful day. The meeting is adjourned.